Hello, Patreon, and welcome into the first ever bonus track from the In My Footsteps podcast. In the future, these will be something around 10 to 12 minutes, kind of a quick dip in and out about one subject, maybe two that I've maybe previously covered on the In My Footsteps podcast. And I thought they needed a little more love, a little more explanation, so that's where the bonus track idea comes from. Now, I say in the future, these will be 10 to 12 minutes because this one might be a little longer as I set up the premise of exactly what I'm doing. As we go in the future, these will likely be on the paying tier on Patreon. This first one I'm doing on the free tier to kind of give you a taste of this and maybe hopefully entice some of you to become paying members. I don't know the rhyme or reason as far as how often I'm going to be doing these. I know that just in an hour of research, I came up with more than 24 of these subjects that I could talk about. And with them being, less than 15 minutes, I should be able to pump these out more regularly if I have the time. As I said, for the most part, these are things that I have spoken about on the podcast, probably in either top 5 lists or other segments that are kind of lists. Meaning that these subjects would get maybe 2 minutes at most that I would talk about, knowing that there was a lot of meat left on the bone that I didn't share. What that means is that if you've listened to the podcast going back to the beginning, and we're now well over 220 episodes, and there's a subject that was in one of these types of segments that you want me to dive deeper on, send me a message on Patreon. That's basically the setup of these bonus track podcasts on Patreon. So for this very first one, this debut episode, I've got 2 things to dive deeper into. They're kind of connected, which is why I put them together. One is a product from the 1920s known as the Isolator. The other is a product from the 1990s known as the TV hat. I found these connected because one is to reduce distractions. The other is kind of enhancing a distraction while reducing the distraction of the world around you. The Isolator I originally spoke about in episode 131 of the In My Footsteps podcast. This is a head-enclosing helmet invented and publicized by a man named Hugo Gernsback in 1925. The idea behind it is to eliminate the distractions of the world so that you can get your work done easier. I highly recommend that if you've never heard of this, and I wouldn't expect you to have, that you go online and look up the Isolator Helmet and look at the photos of this thing and tell me it's not stuff of nightmare fuel. It looks like a cross between a scuba diver helmet and an old stormtrooper helmet. It makes a little more sense as to why this was invented when you realize that Gernsback was better known as a pioneering editor and publisher of early science fiction and technology magazines. The idea of the Isolator was first brought to light in the July 1925 issue of Science and Invention. I'm sure in Gernsback's mind, this was going to revolutionize studying and getting work done. But it must have been terrifying to look at if you were in a library and you happened to see somebody wearing this foolish thing. So picture it. It's 1925, you're in a library doing some kind of studying, and this person walks in, and what they're wearing is a helmet that is covering their entire head. The early versions were made of wood, lined with cork, and covered in felt. The wearer could breathe through a baffle, which is a kind of breathing apparatus. Vision was limited to these narrow slits or small glass panes that looked like a pair of glasses on the front. And the idea is that you were only going to be able to see a sheet of paper placed closely in front of you, so you basically couldn't do anything else but study. Gernsback himself reported that the helmet substantially reduced outside sound, with his estimates varying from 75% to 90% reduction in outside sounds. The problem was that extended use of this thing would cause drowsiness. So he later experimented with adding a small oxygen tank to the helmet to liven the wearer up and counteract the drowsiness. So now you've got a giant helmet on your head and an oxygen tank attached to it, all to study better. It's like just that attachment is a distraction. This was seen as a curious but promising invention. I've got some quotes from that original 1925 article from Science and Invention. One quote about why people should buy the Isolator helmet was, "Most people who desire thus to concentrate find it necessary to shut themselves up in an almost soundproof room in order to go ahead with their work. But here, there are even many things that distract their attention." So instead of a soundproof room, you need a soundproof helmet on your head. The article ended with the quote saying, "With this arrangement," meaning the wood, the felt, the oxygen tank, the baffle breathing apparatus, "with this arrangement, it is found that an important task can be completed in short order, and the construction of the isolator will be found to be a great investment." This is where I'm the narrator that says it was not a great investment, it was an epic fail, and that's why I'm putting this in the first bonus track podcast. We flash forward 70 years to one of the as seen on TV products that ends up right up along the isolator as in the stupidest inventions department, the original TV hat. The idea of this is that it's a hat with a long visor that had this kind of curtain around the extended brim, and you were supposed to be able to kind of put it over a small TV so that you could just sit there and it would be like you were in a theater. There's no distractions around you. So it's similar to the isolator in that you're blocking out the outside world, but this is not to study. This is so you can watch TV without, having to be bothered by family and children. Who needs that when you've got to watch the latest sports game or soap opera? If you look it up, this thing looks as dumb as it sounds. Just imagine a regular baseball cap with a brim that's double the length, maybe even a little more, and there's just this black curtain around the bottom of it. This product was a big-time fail when it first came out in the 90s because there was no such thing as smartphones back then. But the irony is, this product you can still get now. It still looks every bit as stupid as it did back in the 90s, but it actually makes a little more sense because you can put a smartphone in the little pouch at the end. There are, in some of them, these magnifying lenses that are closer to your eyes so that you can make your screen look bigger or smaller. But just because it makes more sense now doesn't mean it looks good. There are commercials that are pretty recent showing this, as seen on TV hat. But these ones from the 90s, the pictures, the videos, would be someone wearing this in all the weirdest places. At the beach, in their car, at the gym. The 90s one didn't last long. The one that's out now, it's still getting a lot of bad publicity, where it's $30 to buy this stupid thing. And there's a lot of people that comment under these posts with worries about safety, because there are idiots out there that see the commercial of someone sitting in their car with this TV hat and start to think, I wonder if I could do that while driving. And if you think there's no way anyone would be that stupid to wear this TV hat while driving or out for a walk, just think about how many times you see stunts in commercials and you have to have the text "do not attempt" at the bottom because there's some single-digit IQ moron that will go out and do what they saw on TV. I mean, hell, they had the challenge on social media eating Tide Pods not that long ago. The TV hat is seen, I guess in an indirect way, as kind of a predecessor to the VR headsets. It is seen as a bit of a novelty gift to give people. But what I wanted to do, the reason I put both of them in this initial bonus track podcast, is because I wanted to kind of tie them together, because I saw them as obviously not the same, but they had the same impulse. Both of these devices, the isolator and the TV hat, were solutions to perceived sensory management problems. One was to get rid of the outside distractions so that you could study. The other was to get rid of outside distractions so you could watch TV in peace. Obviously, both of them are head-worn gadgets. I would think the TV hat would be a little more comfortable. You could probably remove the curtains on it so you just have a stupidly long brim on a regular hat. The Isolator, I couldn't see you ever wearing that for anything unless you wanted to scare kids on Halloween. Each of these would have likely gotten you stares from people, the vast majority of people that are normal. The current version of the TV hat you can get pretty much anywhere. They're currently made by SKM Industries. If you go to skmproducts.com, you can get one of these for $9.99. I don't know if that is some kind of a deal and it's going to go up. I'd say please only buy one of these if you have money that you don't care about wasting. As far as the Isolator Helmet went, I couldn't find anything about this being mass-produced or anything beyond just a little bit of a novelty. I don't know if anyone ever bought one. I couldn't find any for sale anywhere. But both the Isolator and the TV hat had sort of the same theme of when existing environments conflicted with a desired activity. You had designers reaching for mechanical head-mounted shielding as a quick fix. Whether it was practical or absurd or both. It definitely goes to show you if you have any ideas for inventions, don't just give up on them. Because somebody had to come up with the idea for the Isolator helmet, or the TV hat, or any other of dozens of completely stupid ideas that ended up getting on TV. Who knows, maybe one of you out there can revise the Isolator helmet and go on Shark Tank wearing it and trying to promote it. Just please don't use me as an inspiration for that. Especially if it fails. I heard it on this guy's podcast. But that just about wraps up the first bonus track Patreon podcast, where I take a subject or two that was previously spoken about on the main show and give it a little more attention. Let me know what you think of this concept. I thought of it a few weeks back, where I just started thinking of my top 5 lists or the other segments I've done as lists, and thinking about all of the different subjects that have just kind of been brushed over. After this, the second bonus track and going forward, they will be shifted to the paying tier on Patreon. Although I do hold the right to maybe someday make them part of the main podcast canon, like I've done with mixtapes and years in pop culture. There may be bonus track episodes up there. This ended up being good. It was bite-sized, like I wanted it to be. Even with my description of what it's about, we're still going to clock in at under 14 minutes, so that's not bad. So I hope you enjoyed this bonus track. It's easier to find than the old tracks on CDs that you'd have to skip ahead a bunch of numbers or just wait 10 minutes of silence for a new song to pop up. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of my Patreon family. Keep on the lookout for all the other content I've got on here and all over social media. The main podcast, my books, the YouTube channel, the blogs. But until next time, I am Christopher Setterlund, but you already knew that. And I am out.